Welcome back, Hetep. So this short video is the next in line of the sequence of our practice. So you probably should have watched the video on arriving, because that's the first part of our sequence. And then we move into what I call checking in, where we check into the various layers of our being. And this is not just it's a fully embodied practice, and very often people talk about embodiment in terms of the state of how we turn up within the body and how the body is. Full embodiment, in my understanding, incorporates also our different layers that we can understand through a yogic lens, whether that's through a classical tantric yogic lens, or whether that's through an ancient Kemetic yogic lens. There are more layers than just the physical body. We know this. There's also the emotional, the mental body, our sense of vitality, and other layers as well. So that's what I'd like you to introduce you to, because this is again part of the practice sequence that we will always go through. We'll arrive and then we'll check in. And when we check in, sometimes it's nice to maybe place a hand on the chest, on the heart, and maybe also a hand on the belly. And you might like to do that now. And as I explain, we can actually go through the process a little as well. So checking in, we do start with the body first. And we're going to notice maybe muscle tone or muscle tension. Notice any areas in the body. And we can do this either by literally scanning down from the crown, or we can scan up from the soles of the feet upwards, or we can just allow our attention to wander randomly to different parts of the body where it's drawn to, where we might feel a sense of tension. And in that checking in with the physical muscle tone, we find any tension, we can just simply have a sense of softening and relaxing the muscle and the tissue, and maybe even loosening the joints a little. So this is what I mean by checking in initially with the physical body. But we also check in with the breath at this point. The breath is definitely part of the body. And we might notice if our breath is shallow, maybe it's a little bit erratic, inconsistent. Maybe we're not breathing properly at all, in terms of like maybe we're even holding a breath. So we're just noticing. And very often you find just in the noticing that the body naturally adjusts itself. So we check in with the muscle tone, we check in with the breath, and as things progress and you get much more used to these kind of somatic and body check-ins, you can even maybe feel into maybe the heartbeat, maybe have a sense of the blood coursing through the veins, so a sense maybe of the blood pressure. And again, just kind of taking a moment to notice if you can feel into these spaces, if you can feel into the muscle tone, if you can feel into the breath, if you can feel into the heart rate, the blood pressure. And just by bearing witness to these things, we're cultivating our awareness. And we're also beginning a process of befriending the body, because sometimes our bodies aren't places of safety, and hopefully through this process we will find them to become more of a place of safety than maybe there was before. So we start with the body, with those three elements, and then we move to what is referred to, certainly in classical tantric yoga, as the heart-mind. So emotions and thoughts are just seen to be two ends of the same spectrum. And we're not looking for the content, so we don't want to hear the narratives or anything like that. What we just want to do is get a general sense of, is my mind quite busy right now? So what's the general energy of my mind at the moment? Is it dull? Is it hyper, and also our emotional state. Again, not looking for specific labeling or content, but we just want a sense of, are we resourced right now? Is this the right time for me to be coming to practice? Or maybe would I be better off, just sitting outside in my garden, listening to the birds, watching the trees? So what's my emotional state? How am I really resourced right now for my practice? Because that's important. And then from the heart-mind, we move into our sense of vitality. In traditional Chinese medicine, this would be your sense of qi. In classical yoga, this is your prana. And in ancient Kemetic yoga, this is sekhem. So what's your vitality like right now? Are you feeling awake, ready, energized, open? Or are you a little bit kind of tired? A little, maybe needing a rest more than a practice? So just trying to feel into that. Feeling into your sense of general vitality right now. And then we might move on to our capacity to tune into our own still, silent presence. How easy is it for me to come to the space in between thoughts, let's say? How easy is it for me to come to the space in between breaths? Can I rest easily enough in a sense of still, silent, calm presence? Or is my ability to do so disturbed by the movement of thoughts or emotions, or some physical discomfort in the body? And again, just getting a feeling for that. So this is our first yardstick, and we kind of come back to this to a certain degree towards the end of the whole practice. And because we take this measure at the beginning and then another measure at the end, we have a sense of development and progress in our practice. So again, maybe relaxing, little shake out. Make some noise. Release the breath. Again, take a moment to orient yourself to the space, both visually, maybe auditory as well, listening for sounds in your environment. Just taking a moment to notice, maybe allowing your gaze to fall on something which captivates you for a moment. So over there I've got a bag with the infinity knot on it, which is very beautiful. And just allow yourself to become more present once again. So this is how we check in, which is the second part of the sequence in the whole of the practice. Super. So, again, move on to the next video. The next video we're talking about somatic inquiry and also a little bit about somatic elicitation, which is really, again, every element of the practice is nothing that we can skip over. We'll always go through these stages, but this is obviously the part where we start to possibly recognize if we have access at this particular time in our practice to racialized wounds. So, see you in the next video. Hotep.